Welcome back to Fiction Flux. Today, we're diving into an exciting new fanfiction, What If Female Deku Became a Gangster? It's a thrilling twist on her journey, where strength and resilience take center stage in a world filled with challenges. So, let's not waste any time and jump right into the story. In the dimly lit alleys of Musudafu, where shadows whispered secrets and danger lurked at every corner, Izumi Midoriya, known to the streets as Deku, had carved out a life far removed from the dreams of heroism she once held as a child. She was not the timid girl who idolized All Might. She had transformed into a formidable gangster, driven by a haunting past and a desire for revenge. As a child, Izumi had been relentlessly bullied for her quirkless status. Every day was a battle, not just against her peers but against the weight of her own aspirations. She longed to be a hero, to save others, but she was often reminded that without a quirk, she was powerless. The trauma of those years festered within her, shaping her into someone who no longer believed in the ideals of heroism. The final straw came when she witnessed her childhood friend, Katsuki Bakugo, stand by and laugh as she was cornered by a group of bullies. That moment shattered her, replacing her dreams with a thirst for strength and revenge. Determined to never feel weak again, Izumi sought power in the most unexpected places. She immersed herself in the criminal underworld, training relentlessly and earning a reputation as a ruthless enforcer. Her rise through the ranks was swift. She was smart, quick on her feet, and unafraid to get her hands dirty. With each opponent she took down, she felt a surge of satisfaction, a fleeting sense of control over her life. But the life of a gangster was fraught with its own demons. Each fight left scars, both physical and emotional. The further she distanced herself from her past, the more isolated she became. The gang she joined, the Emerald Shadows, became her new family, but they were a constant reminder of the darkness she was entangled in. Her allies were as broken as she was, each of them with their own stories of loss and betrayal. Despite their bond, Izumi felt a void that no amount of power could fill. One fateful night, as the rain poured down in sheets, the Emerald Shadows found themselves in a turf war with a rival gang. The streets echoed with chaos as fists flew and weapons clashed. Izumi fought fiercely, but in the midst of the chaos, she caught a glimpse of a familiar face among the enemies, Bakugo. He was no longer the brash boy from her childhood. He had become a hardened fighter, a product of his own experiences. The sight of him stirred something deep within her, a mixture of anger and longing. In that moment, everything came flooding back, the pain, the betrayal, the dreams she had abandoned. As the battle raged on, Izumi found herself face to face with Bakugo. Their eyes locked, and for a heartbeat, the world around them faded. But the illusion of reconciliation shattered when he lunged at her, and she instinctively retaliated. Their fight was fierce and personal, fueled by years of resentment and unspoken words. "Why are you doing this?" Bakugo shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. "You used to want to be a hero." "Hero?" Izumi spat back, her heart racing. "You think I can be a hero without a quirk? Look where that got me." With every blow, she poured her frustrations into the fight, her tears mingling with the rain. Bakugo, seeing the pain in her eyes, hesitated. "We can't change the past, but you don't have to keep running from it. You're stronger than this." His words struck her like a lightning bolt. For the first time, Izumi felt the weight of her choices crashing down on her. The adrenaline of the fight faded, leaving only the raw truth of her existence. Was this really who she wanted to be? In that split second, she realized that her quest for revenge had only led her deeper into darkness. As the fight subsided, the sounds of sirens echoed in the distance. Izumi took a step back, breathing heavily, the rain washing away the remnants of her anger. Bakugo, too, stood panting, a mix of concern and understanding in his gaze. "I don't want to fight you anymore," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I'm tired of this life." Bakugo softened, the remnants of their childhood friendship surfacing. "Then let's find a way to change it together. You don't have to do this alone." In that moment, Izumi felt a flicker of hope reignite within her. She had spent so long in a world of vengeance that she had forgotten what it felt like to trust someone. With Bakugo by her side, perhaps she could find a path back to the light. Together, they could confront their shared past and forge a new future, one where Izumi could redefine what it meant to be strong, not as a gangster, but as someone who could rise above her trauma and reclaim her dreams. As they walked away from the chaos of the night, a new journey unfolded before them, one filled with challenges but also the promise of redemption. Izumi Midoriya was ready to fight again, not for revenge, but for herself and for the chance to become the hero she always wanted to be. Izumi and Bakugo walked through the rain-soaked streets, both still catching their breath from the intense fight. The sounds of sirens faded into the distance, leaving a heavy silence. As they moved away from the chaos, Izumi felt a mix of emotions, fear, hope, and uncertainty. "Where do we go from here?" she asked, glancing at Bakugo. Bakugo looked thoughtful for a moment. "First, we need to get you out of this gang. You don't belong in that world anymore." Izumi nodded, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. For so long, she had believed that power was the only way to survive. But now, with Bakugo beside her, she saw a different path. "You're right. I can't keep living like this." The next few days were a blur of planning and action. Izumi contacted the leader of the Emerald Shadows, a man known for his temper. She knew it wouldn't be easy to leave, but she was determined. With Bakugo's support, she felt brave enough to face whatever came next. When she met the gang leader, the tension in the room was thick. "You think you can just walk away?" he sneered, crossing his arms. "You're one of us, Deku." "I'm not Deku anymore," Izumi replied, her voice steady. "I'm done with this life. I want to be better." The leader's face twisted with anger. "You'll regret this." With a surge of confidence, Izumi stood her ground. "I won't regret taking control of my life." Bakugo stepped forward, his presence fierce. "If you want to threaten her, you'll have to go through me." The leader hesitated, realizing that Izumi had allies now. She could feel the tension shift. After a long silence, he finally let out a frustrated sigh. "Fine. Just don't expect to be welcome back." As they left, Izumi felt a sense of freedom wash over her. She was no longer trapped in the life that had once defined her. She was ready to embrace the unknown. With each passing day, Izumi and Bakugo worked together to rebuild her life. They trained hard, focusing on developing her skills and confidence. Izumi discovered that her determination could be her greatest strength. She began to believe in herself again, slowly letting go of the pain from her past. One afternoon, while they were training in a secluded spot, Bakugo turned to her, a rare smile on his face. "You've come a long way, you know. I'm proud of you." Izumi felt warmth spread in her chest. "Thanks, Bakugo. I couldn't have done it without you." As they spent more time together, their bond grew stronger. They shared their dreams, fears, and hopes. Izumi learned more about Bakugo's struggles and the pressure he felt to be strong. In turn, he learned about her pain and the reasons behind her choices. They found comfort in each other's company, healing wounds that had long been buried. But old habits die hard. Even as Izumi moved forward, she felt remnants of her past creeping in. The streets still called to her, and sometimes she felt the urge to retaliate against those who had hurt her. It was a battle within herself, one that she fought every day. One night, they heard whispers about a new gang moving into town, causing trouble for everyone. Izumi felt a familiar fire ignite inside her. "We should do something about them," she said, her fists clenched. Bakugo shook his head. "We can't fight fire with fire, Izumi. We need to find a better way." "But what if they hurt innocent people?" she argued, frustration bubbling up. "We'll find a way to protect them that doesn't involve going back to our old lives," Bakugo replied firmly. Izumi sighed, understanding his point but feeling torn. It was hard to let go of the anger that had fueled her for so long. As they sat together under the stars, Bakugo spoke softly, "You're stronger than you think. You don't need revenge to be powerful. You can be a hero in your own way." His words struck a chord within her. Maybe he was right. Maybe being a hero didn't mean fighting every battle alone. Maybe it meant standing up for what was right, even without a quirk. With newfound determination, Izumi and Bakugo began to gather information about the new gang. Instead of violence, they sought to unite the community, encouraging everyone to stand together against the threat. They organized meetings, rallied support, and worked to create a safer environment for everyone. Slowly, the town began to change. People started to trust each other more, and the gang's influence began to wane. Izumi found purpose in helping others, using her experiences to guide those who had faced similar struggles. She realized that her past didn't define her, it was how she chose to move forward that truly mattered. As they stood together one evening, watching the sunset over Musudafu, Izumi felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. She had faced her trauma, learned to forgive herself, and found a new path alongside someone who believed in her. She wasn't just Izumi Midoriya, she was becoming someone strong and resilient. "Thank you, Bakugo," she said softly, "for helping me find my way." He smiled, a hint of pride in his eyes. "You did this, Izumi. You're the one who chose to change." And in that moment, she knew she had not only overcome her past but had also forged a new future, a future where she could be a hero, not just for herself but for others. Together, they would continue to fight, not with fists, but with courage and compassion, making Musudafu a better place for everyone. As the days turned into weeks, Izumi and Bakugo's efforts began to bear fruit. The community in Musudafu started to rally around them, inspired by their determination and resilience. Together, they organized events to promote unity and strength, transforming the town's narrative from one of fear to one of hope. They held workshops where people could share their stories, offering support to those who had faced similar hardships. Izumi felt a deep connection with many of them, realizing that she wasn't alone in her struggles. Each story shared added another layer to her understanding of pain and recovery. This new sense of purpose fueled her desire to keep fighting, not just against the gang, but for everyone who needed a voice. One evening, while preparing for a community gathering, Izumi noticed a familiar figure lurking in the shadows. Her heart raced as she recognized a former member of the Emerald Shadows. The memory of her past life rushed back, bringing with it a wave of anxiety. She approached cautiously, ready to defend herself if necessary. "What do you want?" Izumi asked, trying to sound braver than she felt. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a worn face and tired eyes. "I'm here to warn you. The new gang, they're not like the others. They're ruthless. They won't stop until they take over." Izumi felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean?" "They've been watching you. They see your strength and they're coming for you. They don't like people who threaten their power." Izumi exchanged a worried glance with Bakugo, who had been watching from a distance. He approached her, concern etched on his face. "We need to prepare. If they're targeting you, we can't take this lightly." Izumi nodded, the reality of their situation settling in. They had worked so hard to build a safe community, and now it felt threatened again. Determined not to back down, she gathered the community leaders for an emergency meeting. As they sat in a circle, tension filled the air. Izumi stood, her voice steady despite her fears. "We've worked too hard to let this new gang take control. We need to protect our home and each other. But we can't do it with violence alone. We need a plan." Together, they brainstormed strategies to counter the gang's influence without resorting to confrontation. They decided to strengthen their networks, create neighborhood watch groups, and use social media to raise awareness about the gang's activities. Izumi felt a surge of pride as they united with a shared goal. The next few days were filled with preparation. They distributed flyers, organized meetings, and shared information about the gang's activities. With Bakugo by her side, Izumi felt unstoppable. Their bond had deepened through their shared mission, and they found strength in each other. But late one night, as Izumi was heading home, she felt a chill run down her spine. She sensed she was being followed. She quickened her pace, heart racing. Suddenly, she was cornered in a dark alley by a group of thugs from the new gang. They laughed menacingly, their eyes gleaming with malice. Well, if it isn't the little hero," one of them sneered. "You think you can take on our turf?" Izumi's mind raced. She couldn't show fear, not now. "You don't scare me," she declared, trying to sound brave. "Is that so?" The leader stepped forward, a cruel smile on his face. "Let's see how tough you really are." Just as he lunged at her, Bakugo appeared, a fierce look in his eyes. "Back off." he shouted, ready to defend her. Together, they faced the gang, their backs against each other. The fight that followed was intense. Izumi felt adrenaline coursing through her veins as she fought alongside Bakugo, relying on the skills she had developed. Every punch and kick was fueled by her determination to protect her community. But the gang was larger in number, and they quickly found themselves overwhelmed. Just when it seemed they might be cornered, the community members they had rallied came pouring into the alley, armed with makeshift weapons and fueled by the spirit of unity. The sight of their neighbors standing together gave Izumi new strength. "We're not afraid of you," she shouted, and the crowd echoed her sentiment. Surrounded, the gang members hesitated. The tide had turned. With their numbers dwindling and the community rallying around Izumi and Bakugo, the gang retreated, realizing they were outmatched. In the aftermath, Izumi stood breathless but victorious. The community had come together in a way she had never imagined possible. As she looked around at the faces of those she had fought for, she felt a sense of belonging that filled the void she had carried for so long. Bakugo grinned, breathing heavily. "See, we're stronger together." Izumi smiled back, tears of relief filling her eyes. "I couldn't have done it without you." From that day forward, Izumi and Bakugo continued to lead their community with courage and compassion. They became symbols of strength and resilience, proving that true power came not from revenge or violence, but from unity and understanding. As they stood together on the rooftop overlooking Musudafu, Izumi realized that her journey was far from over. She had found her place in the world, not as a gangster, but as a protector of her community. She could now pursue her dreams of being a hero, not just in her own life, but for others too. In the heart of the city, where shadows once threatened to consume her, Izumi Midoriya had finally found her light. And with Bakugo by her side, she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that together, they could overcome anything. As weeks passed, Izumi and Bakugo continued to strengthen their community, turning it into a beacon of hope in Musudafu. They organized workshops to teach self-defense, empowering residents to stand up for themselves. The gatherings fostered connections among people who had once lived in fear, transforming their mindset from vulnerability to resilience. One afternoon, while preparing for an upcoming event, Izumi received a message from an unknown number. Curiosity piqued, she opened it to find a photo of the new gang leader. Accompanying the picture was a single line, "This isn't over." Her heart raced, anxiety gripping her. It was a clear threat, a reminder that the danger still loomed. Bakugo noticed her tense expression and leaned in. "What's wrong?" "It's from the gang leader." "They're not done with us," Izumi replied, her voice shaky. Bakugo's expression hardened. "We can't let them intimidate us. We need to show them we're not afraid." That night, they called an emergency meeting with the community leaders. As they gathered in a local community center, Izumi felt the weight of their collective worry. "We've made great progress, but it's clear the gang is still a threat. We need to be prepared for anything," she said, looking around the room. One of the leaders, an older woman named Ms. Yamamoto, nodded. "We can't let fear take hold again. We've come too far to back down now." Bakugo stepped forward, a fierce look in his eyes. "We need to be ready to fight back if they come at us. But we'll do it as a united front." They agreed to set up a watch system, organizing groups to patrol the streets during vulnerable hours. Everyone would be involved, from the teenagers to the elderly. Izumi felt a renewed sense of purpose as they all worked together, reinforcing the bonds they had built. As the event approached, excitement mixed with anxiety. The community fair was designed to celebrate their resilience, showcasing local talents and promoting unity. But in the back of Izumi's mind, she couldn't shake the feeling that the gang would try to disrupt it. On the day of the fair, the sun shone brightly, and the atmosphere buzzed with energy. Families filled the park, laughter echoing as children played games and vendors sold homemade treats. Izumi moved among the crowds, feeling a sense of belonging and joy. But she remained alert, scanning the surroundings for any signs of trouble. Just as the festivities peaked, she spotted a group of familiar faces in the distance, the gang members, lurking at the edge of the park. Her heart dropped. They were clearly here to cause chaos. "Bakugo," she called out, pointing toward the gang. "They're here." Bakugo's expression shifted from enjoyment to focus. We need to get everyone to safety. In a split second, Izumi sprang into action. She grabbed the microphone and spoke to the crowd, her voice steady despite the fear in her heart. Everyone, please listen. We need to stay calm and move to the community center. It's not safe here. The crowd began to panic, but Bakugo and several community members helped guide people toward safety. Izumi's heart raced as she led families away, her mind racing with thoughts of protecting everyone. Suddenly, the gang charged into the park, ready to cause chaos. Izumi felt a surge of anger. This was their home, and she wouldn't let them destroy it. We can't back down, she shouted, turning to Bakugo. We need to stand our ground. Bakugo nodded, adrenaline pumping through him. Let's show them what we're made of. Together, they faced the gang, a united front against the threat. The community members, inspired by Izumi's bravery, stood beside them, ready to defend their home. As the gang approached, a fierce battle ensued. Izumi fought with everything she had, her determination fueled by the desire to protect her newfound family. She could hear Bakugo fighting nearby, his explosive quirk lighting up the darkening sky. The energy of the crowd behind them pushed her forward, filling her with courage. Despite being outnumbered, the community fought fiercely. They remembered the skills they had learned in the self-defense workshops, and with each strike, they reclaimed their power. The gang began to realize they were up against something stronger than they had anticipated. In the heat of the battle, Izumi caught sight of the gang leader, his eyes filled with rage. He charged toward her, but before he could reach her, Bakugo intervened, launching a powerful explosion that sent the leader reeling back. Stay away from her, Bakugo shouted, standing protectively in front of Izumi. With the gang leader distracted, Izumi seized the opportunity. She charged forward, using everything she had learned to confront him. You don't belong here, she yelled, her voice strong and unwavering. The gang leader stumbled but quickly regained his footing. You think you can defeat me? This is our territory. Izumi stood her ground, her heart racing. No, it's our territory now. You've underestimated the strength of this community. With a final surge of determination, she lunged at him, her fists connecting with his jaw. The impact resonated, and for a moment, everything went silent. The gang members, seeing their leader fall, hesitated. That hesitation was all the community needed. They rallied together, pushing back against the gang with newfound strength. The gang, realizing they were outmatched and outnumbered, began to retreat, scrambling back into the shadows from which they came. As the last of the gang members disappeared, cheers erupted from the crowd. Izumi felt a rush of relief and pride wash over her. They had done it. They had defended their home and shown that they wouldn't back down. Bakugo turned to Izumi, breathing heavily but grinning. You were amazing out there. You really stood up to him. Izumi's heart swelled with gratitude. I couldn't have done it without everyone. We fought as a team. The community gathered around them, celebrating their victory. They had faced their fears together and emerged stronger than ever. In that moment, Izumi realized that she had found her purpose, not just in protecting her home, but in building a community where everyone felt valued and safe. As night fell, the park lit up with colorful lights, a testament to their resilience. Izumi stood beside Bakugo, feeling a sense of belonging she had never known before. Together, they had created something beautiful out of pain and struggle. Thank you for being my rock, Bakugo, she said softly, looking at him with sincerity. Always, he replied, his gaze steady. We've got each other's backs. That's what matters. With a sense of hope and unity surrounding them, Izumi knew that this was just the beginning of their journey. They would continue to fight for their community, and together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, stronger than ever, side by side. In the weeks that followed the confrontation with the gang, Musudafu transformed in ways Izumi had only dreamed of. The community, once filled with fear, now thrived on unity and resilience. Neighbors who had once been strangers shared meals, stories, and laughter, forging bonds that made their town feel like a true home. Izumi and Bakugo continued their work, organizing regular events to foster community spirit. They held movie nights in the park, art classes for children, and even self-defense workshops for anyone who wanted to learn. The vibrancy of their efforts ignited a sense of pride among the residents, and Izumi felt a profound sense of purpose with every event they organized. One day, while cleaning up after a particularly successful fair, Izumi noticed a small girl watching from a distance. Her eyes were wide with curiosity. Izumi approached her, kneeling to meet her gaze. "Hey there, did you enjoy the fair?" The girl nodded shyly. "I want to be strong like you." Izumi's heart melted. You can be. Strength comes in many forms. It's not just about fighting, it's also about helping others and standing up for what's right. The girl smiled, her confidence growing. "Can you teach me?" "Of course. We can start a class for kids if you want." The girl's face lit up with excitement. "Really? That would be awesome." With the girl's enthusiasm, Izumi felt inspired to create a new initiative, youth programs that would empower the younger generation. She shared the idea with Bakugo, who immediately saw the potential. "We could teach them self-defense, teamwork, and how to stand up for each other. It'll help them feel safe and confident," he suggested. As they began planning the program, word spread through the community. Soon, dozens of kids signed up, eager to learn and be part of something special. The first class was a mix of excitement and nervousness, but Izumi and Bakugo made it fun, incorporating games into their training. During one session, as they practiced basic moves, Izumi noticed the girl from before. Her name was Yuki, focusing intently. Izumi praised her for her determination, and Yuki beamed with pride. It was moments like these that filled Izumi with joy and purpose. However, the peace wouldn't last. One evening, as they were wrapping up a class, Bakugo received a message that made his expression darken. "Izumi, we need to talk." She followed him to a quieter area, concern bubbling up inside her. "What's wrong?" "The gang is back. They've been seen in the area again, and they're looking for trouble," he said, his tone serious. Izumi's stomach dropped. "After everything we've built, we can't let them intimidate us again," Bakugo said, determination in his eyes. "We need to prepare our community." They quickly organized a meeting with the community leaders, emphasizing the need to stay vigilant. Together, they discussed strategies to keep everyone safe, but Izumi felt a heaviness in her heart. They had worked so hard to create a safe space, and now it felt threatened once more. On the night of the meeting, as the community gathered, Izumi felt a sense of unity in the room. She stood up to address everyone. "I know we've faced challenges before, but we're stronger together. We won't let fear dictate our lives." As she spoke, she felt the energy shift in the room. The residents nodded, their faces resolute. They were ready to defend their home. Bakugo added, "We need to organize patrols again, but let's also focus on being a united front. If they see us standing together, they'll think twice about causing trouble." The meeting ended with a renewed sense of purpose, and Izumi felt grateful for the support of her community. They would face this challenge head-on, just as they had before. Days later, as tensions heightened, Izumi found herself patrolling the streets with Bakugo and several community members. They walked in pairs, staying alert for any signs of trouble. The streets were quiet, but Izumi's heart raced with anxiety. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the night, followed by shouts. Izumi's instincts kicked in, and she sprinted toward the noise, Bakugo close behind. As they turned the corner, they saw the gang members vandalizing a local shop, the owner desperately trying to protect his business. "Hey!" Izumi shouted, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "Leave him alone." The gang members turned, surprise flickering in their eyes. The leader stepped forward, a sneer on his face. "What's this? The little hero thinks she can stop us again." Bakugo stepped beside Izumi, ready for a fight. "You picked the wrong place to mess around." The tension crackled in the air as both sides prepared for a confrontation. But Izumi felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just about fighting, it was about standing up for their community. "We don't want trouble," she said, raising her voice to be heard. "You're outnumbered, and we're not backing down. Leave now, and we won't have to escalate this." The gang leader's expression shifted, realizing that the community was united against them. But he wasn't going to back down easily. "You think you can intimidate us? We're not afraid of you." Just then, the community members began to gather behind Izumi and Bakugo, standing firm. Each face reflected determination, fearlessness igniting in their eyes. It was a powerful moment, a united front against the gang. The leader hesitated, glancing at his fellow members who seemed less confident. "This isn't over," he spat, but the uncertainty was evident in his voice. "Then don't let it be," Bakugo challenged. "Walk away, and we won't pursue you." With that, the gang members exchanged glances, weighing their options. Finally, they turned and fled into the night, leaving the community in triumph. Izumi let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. They had stood together and faced down their fears. As cheers erupted from the crowd, she felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had proven their strength once more. In the days that followed, the community continued to thrive, emboldened by their victory. Izumi found herself more connected than ever to the people around her. She had not only defended her home, she had helped create a safe space where everyone could grow and thrive. One evening, as the sun set over Musudafu, Izumi and Bakugo stood atop a hill overlooking the city. The sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, a stark contrast to the darkness they had faced. "Look at what we've built," Izumi said softly, a smile spreading across her face. Bakugo nodded, a rare warmth in his expression. "It's incredible. You did this, Izumi. You brought everyone together. I couldn't have done it without you," she replied, her heart full of gratitude. "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." He shrugged, a teasing glint in his eye. "Well, you're a lot tougher than you look." They both laughed, the tension of the past months fading away. Standing there, side by side, they knew they could face any challenge together. With their bond stronger than ever, Izumi and Bakugo looked toward the future with hope. They had turned their pain into purpose, and now they would continue to protect and uplift their community, ensuring that Musudafu remained a place of safety and resilience. Together, they were ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that their journey was just beginning. As the weeks rolled into months, the community continued to flourish under Izumi and Bakugo's leadership. The youth programs gained popularity, drawing in kids from all over Musudafu. Izumi found herself becoming a mentor, shaping the next generation into confident, capable individuals who could stand up for themselves and others. One afternoon, while leading a self-defense class for the kids, Izumi noticed Yuki, the girl who had first approached her, practicing diligently. Yuki was determined and had grown stronger with each lesson. After class, Izumi knelt beside her. "You're doing amazing, Yuki. I'm proud of how far you've come." Yuki beamed, her eyes shining. "I want to be a hero, just like you." Izumi felt her heart swell. "You already are. Being a hero isn't just about powers, it's about helping others and being brave." As Izumi and Bakugo continued their efforts, they also began to see signs of change in the community. People were speaking out against bullying and supporting one another, creating an environment of trust and safety. Yet, in the back of their minds, they knew the gang was still a threat, lurking just beyond the fringes. One evening, during a community meeting, an older man named Mr. Tanaka stood up. "We've heard rumors that the gang is trying to regroup. We need to stay vigilant. We can't let them undermine the progress we've made." Izumi felt a knot tighten in her stomach. "We've worked hard to create a safe space, and we won't let them take it away from us. We need to be prepared to protect what we've built together." The community rallied, discussing strategies to keep everyone safe. They established watch groups, but Izumi wanted to ensure everyone felt empowered, not just protected. She proposed a series of workshops focusing on conflict resolution, teaching residents how to handle difficult situations peacefully. Bakugo supported her idea wholeheartedly. "If we can teach people to communicate and resolve issues without violence, we'll strengthen our community even further." Excited about the potential impact, they began organizing the workshops. They invited local leaders and experts to help facilitate discussions. Slowly, the community began to embrace this new approach, fostering a culture of understanding and respect. But just as they felt their efforts were paying off, the gang struck again. One night, a group of masked members vandalized a local park that had become a hub for community gatherings. They spray-painted threats and left a chilling message: "You can't escape us." When news spread, outrage rippled through Musudafu. Izumi felt a mix of anger and sadness. "They think they can scare us, but we can't let them win," she said, addressing the community at another meeting. Bakugo stood beside her, his resolve unwavering. "We need to show them that they can't intimidate us. Let's organize a cleanup and community rally to show our strength." The community responded with enthusiasm, determined to turn the gang's attack into a demonstration of their resilience. They mobilized quickly, gathering supplies to clean up the park and organize a rally. Izumi felt a sense of pride swelling within her as she watched everyone come together. On the day of the rally, the park was filled with residents carrying banners and signs that read messages of hope, strength, and unity. Izumi took the stage, her heart pounding. "Today, we stand together not just to clean up a park but to show that we won't be intimidated. Our community is strong, and we will not let fear control us." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Bakugo stepped forward, his voice carrying authority. "We are fighters, not just in the physical sense, but in the way we care for each other. We are here to support one another and to protect our home." As the event unfolded, Izumi could see the transformation in her community. People were sharing stories of how they had come together during tough times, reinforcing their bonds and commitment to each other. The energy was electric, and Izumi felt a sense of hope that fueled her spirit. But as the rally continued, an unexpected figure emerged from the crowd, the gang leader. He stood at a distance, watching with a scowl on his face. Izumi's heart sank. They had come to intimidate them again. Bakugo noticed the leader as well and moved to Izumi's side. "We can't let him disrupt this," he said, a fierce determination in his voice. Izumi nodded, knowing they needed to confront this head-on. "Let's show him we're not afraid." Together, they approached the gang leader, who smirked at the sight of them. "You really think this little show will keep us away? You're delusional." Izumi stepped forward, her voice steady. "This is more than a show. It's a declaration that we won't be silenced or intimidated. We're stronger than you think." The gang leader laughed, but the sound was hollow. "We'll see about that. You're just delaying the inevitable." Bakugo glared at him. "If you think we'll let you control this community, you're dead wrong. We'll fight for what's right, and we won't back down." With that, the crowd behind Izumi and Bakugo began to cheer, their voices rising in a wave of support. The gang leader's bravado faltered as he realized he was facing a united front. "Run along, then," Izumi taunted. "You don't belong here." With that, the leader's expression shifted from confidence to uncertainty. He turned and retreated, disappearing into the shadows. The community erupted in cheers, celebrating their victory. That night, as Izumi and Bakugo sat on a park bench watching the stars, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. "We really stood our ground today," she said, her voice filled with awe. Bakugo smiled, a rare softness in his gaze. "We did. And it's thanks to everyone. They believe in this, just like we do." Izumi leaned back, taking a deep breath. "I never imagined I could help build something like this. It feels so fulfilling." Bakugo nodded thoughtfully. "You've changed so many lives, Izumi. And you've changed your own too. You're not just surviving anymore, you're thriving." As they sat in comfortable silence, Izumi felt a warmth in her heart. She had come so far from the girl who once felt lost and alone. Now, she was part of something larger, a community that was strong, united, and filled with hope. In the days that followed, the gang seemed to fade into the background, their presence lessening as the community grew more confident. The workshops continued, and Izumi watched as the people around her blossomed into leaders in their own right. One evening, as she was closing up after a youth workshop, Yuki approached her, her eyes sparkling. "Izumi, can we have a special project? I want to do something for the community." "Of course. What do you have in mind?" Izumi asked, intrigued. Yuki's excitement bubbled over. "What if we created a mural to celebrate everyone's stories? A way to show how strong we are together." Izumi felt her heart soar. "That's a brilliant idea. We can gather everyone's stories and turn them into something beautiful." With Yuki leading the charge, they started planning the mural project. The community rallied around it, sharing their experiences and coming together to express their creativity. Izumi felt a surge of pride as she watched the kids paint their hearts out, each stroke telling a story of resilience. As the mural took shape, it became a vibrant tapestry of hope, strength, and unity, a visual representation of everything they had overcome together. On the day of the mural's unveiling, the entire community gathered to celebrate. Standing before the completed mural, Izumi felt a wave of emotions wash over her. Each image represented not just a struggle but also a triumph. She stepped up to the microphone, her voice filled with passion. This mural is a testament to our journey. It shows that we are not defined by our past, but by our determination to create a brighter future together. As cheers erupted from the crowd, Izumi caught sight of Bakugo standing proudly among the residents. She realized how far they had come, not just in fighting off threats, but in building a community that thrived on support and compassion. After the celebration, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Izumi and Bakugo stood in front of the mural, taking in the vibrant colors and the stories woven into it. "We really did this," she said softly. Bakugo nodded, a proud smile on his face. "And we'll keep doing it. We're just getting started." With a sense of hope and determination, Izumi looked at the mural, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, stronger than ever. The future was bright, and for the first time in a long time, she felt ready to embrace it. As the weeks passed, the mural became a beloved landmark in Musudafu, symbolizing the community's strength and resilience. People often gathered around it, sharing stories, laughter, and memories. Izumi felt a deep sense of fulfillment watching the connections grow among the residents, a feeling she had longed for since childhood. One afternoon, while supervising a group of kids painting near the mural, Izumi received a text from Bakugo. "Meet me at the old warehouse. Urgent." Her heart raced. The old warehouse had been abandoned for years, often rumored to be a hideout for the gang. Quickly, she gathered the kids and instructed them to stay safe, promising to return soon. When she arrived at the warehouse, she found Bakugo pacing outside, his expression serious. "I got a tip that the gang is planning something big. We need to be ready." "Do we know what they're planning?" Izumi asked, anxiety creeping in. "Not yet. But we can't underestimate them. I want to gather a few trusted people to keep watch and prepare just in case," he said, determination in his voice. Izumi nodded, her resolve hardening. "Let's do it. We've built something strong, and we can't let them destroy it." They spent the next few days rallying community leaders and trusted residents to form a security team. Together, they created a plan for increased patrols and set up communication lines for reporting any suspicious activity. Izumi felt a sense of unity among everyone, reinforcing their commitment to protecting their home. As the day approached when they anticipated the gang would strike, Izumi couldn't shake her anxiety. She spent sleepless nights preparing, reviewing the plans over and over in her mind. Bakugo noticed her restlessness and offered a rare moment of comfort. "We've prepared well, Izumi. Trust in what we've built and in each other." On the night of the anticipated confrontation, the community gathered at the mural, where they lit candles, creating a sea of flickering lights. Izumi stood at the front, her heart pounding. "Tonight, we stand together, not just as individuals but as a family. We will defend our home, our friends, and our future." Cheers erupted, filling the air with determination. As the hours passed, tension hung thick. Izumi and Bakugo stood at the forefront, scanning the surroundings. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, the gang leader. He sneered at the sight of the gathered community. "You think a few candles can protect you? This is just a facade." Izumi stepped forward, her voice steady. "This isn't just a facade. It's a testament to our strength and resilience. We won't let you intimidate us any longer." The gang leader chuckled, signaling for his crew to step out from the shadows. The atmosphere shifted as more gang members appeared, surrounding the mural. Bakugo clenched his fists, ready to defend. "Let's show them what happens when they mess with us," he whispered to Izumi. Just as the confrontation seemed imminent, a voice rang out from the crowd. It was Mr. Tanaka. "You may have come to scare us, but what you don't understand is that we're stronger together." We'll protect our community." His words ignited a fire within everyone present. One by one, residents stepped forward, standing shoulder to shoulder with Izumi and Bakugo. The gang members hesitated, surprised by the sheer determination in front of them. Bakugo shouted, "You're outnumbered. Leave now, or you'll regret it." The gang leader's confidence wavered. He glanced at his crew, who were clearly shaken by the community's unity. "This isn't over," he yelled before turning to retreat, his gang following behind, defeated. As the gang members fled, cheers erupted from the crowd. Izumi felt a surge of relief wash over her, the weight of fear lifting. They had faced the threat together, and they had won. With the confrontation behind them, the community continued to grow stronger. They organized more events, turning their focus back to building connections and fostering trust among each other. The mural became a central point for gatherings, where stories were shared, laughter rang out, and friendships blossomed. One evening, as they hosted a community potluck, Izumi caught Yuki helping to set up tables. The girl beamed as she handed out plates, her spirit infectious. Izumi felt a sense of pride as she realized how far Yuki had come. She was no longer just a child learning self-defense, she was a leader in her own right. Later that night, as the festivities continued, Bakugo pulled Izumi aside. "Hey, can we talk?" Curious, she followed him to a quieter area of the park. "What's up? I've been thinking about everything we've accomplished. It's impressive," he said, crossing his arms. "But I want to make sure we stay prepared. The gang might not be done." Izumi nodded, her seriousness matching his. "I agree. We can't let our guard down. We need to keep our training and workshops going. Also, I was thinking we should include a self-defense workshop for adults. Many of them want to feel empowered, too," Bakugo suggested. "Great idea. It'll help them feel more secure and involved," Izumi replied, excitement bubbling up. They quickly began planning the new workshops, eager to enhance their community's skills and confidence. As they worked late into the evening, Izumi felt a sense of camaraderie growing between them. They were not just partners in protecting their community but had become friends, bound by shared experiences and goals. Days turned into weeks, and the new workshops were a success. Adults flocked to learn self-defense techniques, while the children continued to thrive in their programs. Izumi reveled in the energy of the community, grateful for the connections they had built. One day, while leading a workshop, Yuki approached her with a proposal. "Izumi, can we organize a community talent show? It could showcase everyone's skills and help raise funds for more programs." Izumi's eyes sparkled at the idea. "That's an amazing plan, Yuki. Let's get started." The talent show quickly became a highly anticipated event, with residents excited to showcase their skills. Musicians, dancers, and artists signed up, each eager to contribute. The sense of excitement filled the air as the date approached. On the night of the talent show, the park was alive with laughter and joy. Families gathered, eager to support their neighbors. Izumi felt a wave of pride as she watched everyone perform, each act a testament to their unique talents and the strength of their community. As the night unfolded, Bakugo took the stage to perform a short, energetic dance routine that had the crowd roaring with laughter. Izumi couldn't help but smile, her heart swelling with gratitude for the friendships they had built. When the show concluded, Izumi stood before the crowd, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you all for being part of this incredible night. You've shown that our community is filled with talent and heart. Together, we can achieve anything." Cheers erupted once more, and Izumi felt a deep connection to each person present. They were more than just neighbors, they were family. As the evening wound down, Bakugo approached her with a grin. "You did good tonight. This community really is something special." "Thanks, Bakugo. I couldn't have done it without your support," she replied, feeling grateful for his unwavering friendship. In the weeks that followed, the community thrived, strengthened by their shared experiences. Izumi felt a renewed sense of hope for the future. They had faced challenges together, overcome fears, and built a safe haven. One day, as she was walking through the park, Izumi spotted Yuki painting a new addition to the mural, a bright sun surrounded by vibrant flowers. She knelt beside the girl, smiling. "It looks beautiful, Yuki. You've really captured the spirit of our community." Yuki beamed with pride. "I wanted to show that we're always growing, just like these flowers." Izumi's heart swelled at the sentiment. "You're right. We're always growing, and we'll continue to bloom together." As the seasons changed, Izumi realized that they had transformed not just their community but themselves. She felt more confident, empowered, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Standing before the mural one evening, with Bakugo by her side, Izumi took a deep breath. "We did it, didn't we? We really built something amazing." Bakugo nodded, his gaze focused on the mural. "Yeah, we did. And it's just the beginning." With determination in her heart, Izumi knew they were ready for whatever came next. Together, they would continue to protect their community, nurture its growth, and embrace the journey ahead. As the seasons changed, the community remained vibrant and united. The talent show had ignited a spark, encouraging more events and collaborations. Izumi and Bakugo continued to foster creativity, bringing in local artists and musicians to inspire the younger generation. One afternoon, while planning a new community art project, Izumi received an unexpected visitor. It was an old acquaintance from her past, a girl named Haruka, who had been a childhood friend before Izumi's life had taken a darker turn. Haruka had heard about the positive changes in Musudafu and wanted to reconnect. "I heard about the mural and everything you've done here," Haruka said, her voice a mix of nostalgia and excitement. "I'm really proud of you, Izumi." Izumi felt a rush of warmth at Haruka's words. "Thanks. It means a lot to hear that. I've been trying to make a difference." As they talked, Izumi learned that Haruka had faced her own struggles. She had moved back to Musudafu after years away, hoping to find a fresh start. Izumi felt a deep connection to Haruka's journey and offered her a chance to be involved in the community's initiatives. "Why don't you join us for the next workshop? We could use your perspective," Izumi suggested. Haruka's eyes lit up. "I'd love to. I've always believed in the power of art to bring people together." With Haruka on board, the community workshops expanded to include artistic expression through painting and storytelling. Izumi felt invigorated by the new energy, and the turnout was impressive. Residents of all ages flocked to share their stories and experiences through art, creating a sense of belonging. However, as the workshops flourished, whispers about the gang began to resurface. Although they hadn't made any direct moves in a while, there were rumors that they were regrouping, seeking revenge against the community for standing up to them. One evening, as Izumi and Bakugo were discussing upcoming projects, they overheard two residents talking about suspicious activity near the old warehouse. Izumi felt her stomach drop. "We need to investigate. If they're planning something, we can't let them catch us off guard." Bakugo nodded, his expression serious. "Let's gather the security team and check it out tonight." Under the cover of darkness, they assembled their trusted allies, and together they approached the warehouse. The atmosphere was tense, each person on high alert. Izumi's heart raced as they drew closer, the memories of past encounters with the gang flooding back. As they neared the building, Bakugo signaled for everyone to halt. "Let's split into teams and surround the place. We need to be strategic." Izumi took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. "I'll lead one team. We need to be careful, we don't want to provoke them unnecessarily." They moved stealthily, positioning themselves around the warehouse. From their vantage points, they could see shadows moving inside. Izumi felt a surge of adrenaline, recalling the strength of the community behind her. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from within, followed by a series of heated voices. "They think they can keep us out. We'll show them who owns this city." Izumi exchanged worried glances with Bakugo. "They're planning something. We need to act before it escalates." Bakugo nodded, determination etched on his face. "Let's go in, but stick to the plan. We can't let them take control." As they entered the warehouse, Izumi felt a wave of anxiety wash over her, but she pushed through. They stealthily made their way deeper into the building, where they discovered a group of gang members gathered around a table, planning their next move. "We hit them where it hurts, during their next big event," one of the members said, a malicious grin on his face. Izumi's heart raced. They were targeting the upcoming community celebration, where the mural would be unveiled in all its glory. She exchanged glances with Bakugo, who nodded, signaling for them to move in. "Hey," Bakugo shouted, stepping forward, confidence radiating from him. "This ends now." The gang members turned, startled. "What are you doing here?" The leader spat, fury in his eyes. "We're here to protect our community," Izumi declared, stepping beside Bakugo, her voice steady. "You don't belong here anymore. Leave while you can." The gang leader laughed mockingly. "You think you can scare us off? You're just a bunch of wannabe heroes." Bakugo clenched his fists. "We've faced you before, and we'll face you again. But this time, we won't back down." The tension in the room escalated, and Izumi felt a surge of determination. "You're not just up against us. You're up against everyone in Musudafu who believes in strength through unity. We won't let you tear us apart." The gang members exchanged uncertain glances, realizing they were outnumbered. Bakugo's presence was intimidating, and Izumi's unwavering resolve was contagious. Suddenly, the gang leader lunged forward, but before he could reach them, Bakugo launched into action, using his explosions to create a diversion. Izumi quickly followed suit, rallying their allies to confront the remaining gang members. The fight erupted, but this time it was different. They weren't just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for their community. Izumi felt a sense of empowerment as she used the self-defense skills she had taught to others, moving with agility and purpose. The gang members began to falter under the pressure, realizing they were outmatched. One by one, they retreated, their bravado dissipating. Finally, the gang leader stood alone, glaring at Izumi and Bakugo. "This isn't over," he snarled, backing away. "We'll come back stronger." Bakugo stepped forward, his eyes fierce. "You'll find we're always ready for you. This community stands together, and we won't let you destroy what we've built." With that, the gang leader fled, leaving his remaining members behind. The victory was theirs, and as the dust settled, the sense of relief and triumph washed over Izumi. "Did we really just do that?" she asked, breathless. Bakugo smirked, his confidence shining through. "Yeah, we did. And we did it as a team." As they exited the warehouse, the adrenaline still coursing through their veins, Izumi felt a newfound sense of hope. They had faced the darkness together and emerged stronger, and she knew the community would rally around this victory. In the following days, the news of their confrontation spread, bringing the community even closer. Residents were inspired by the courage shown during the altercation, and the upcoming celebration took on new significance. It wasn't just about unveiling the mural, it was a celebration of their strength and unity. On the day of the celebration, the park was alive with excitement. Colorful decorations adorned the area, and the community gathered to showcase their talents. Musicians played, artists displayed their work, and laughter filled the air. Izumi stood at the forefront, her heart swelling with pride as she looked out at the crowd. Bakugo stood beside her, sharing a rare smile. "We did this together, Izumi. This is what it's all about." As the moment arrived to unveil the mural, Izumi felt a mix of anticipation and emotion. She took a deep breath, stepping forward. "Today, we celebrate not just art but the strength we've found in each other. This mural represents our journey, our stories, and our resilience." With a flourish, they pulled back the cover, revealing the mural in all its glory. The vibrant colors and images danced in the sunlight, each stroke telling a tale of unity, strength, and hope. The crowd erupted in applause, voices rising in celebration. As people came forward to admire the mural, Izumi felt the warmth of community around her. Yuki ran up, beaming. "It's even more beautiful than I imagined." Izumi knelt beside her. "It's a reflection of all of us. You helped create this." Later in the day, as the celebration continued, Izumi found herself surrounded by friends and residents sharing their thoughts about the mural. She felt a deep sense of connection and fulfillment, knowing they had created something truly special together. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park, Bakugo pulled Izumi aside. "Hey, I wanted to thank you. Your passion and dedication have changed everything." Izumi smiled, touched by his words. "We've all done this together. I couldn't have done it without your support. Still, you've inspired so many people," he said earnestly. "You've made this community what it is today. Their eyes met, and in that moment, Izumi felt a powerful connection. We've come so far, Bakugo. And I know there's so much more we can achieve together. As the evening came to a close, the community lit candles around the mural, creating a magical ambiance. The flickering lights illuminated the colors of the mural, reflecting their shared journey and resilience. Standing together, Izumi and Bakugo watched the scene unfold, surrounded by the warmth of their community. They knew they had faced challenges, but they had also created something beautiful, an unbreakable bond that would carry them forward, no matter what obstacles lay ahead. Izumi took a deep breath, feeling hope and excitement for the future. With Bakugo by her side and the support of their community, she was ready to embrace whatever came next, confident that together, they could overcome anything. As the candles flickered softly around the mural, Izumi felt a sense of peace settle over her. The community had come together in ways she had never imagined, and the bonds forged through shared struggles had only strengthened their resolve. Over the next few weeks, the celebration continued to resonate throughout Musudafu. People shared stories of how they had come together to stand against the gang, celebrating not only the mural but the spirit of unity it represented. Workshops flourished, and the children thrived in an environment filled with encouragement and creativity. One day, while leading a self-defense class, Izumi noticed Yuki practicing with a fierce determination. She approached the girl, impressed by her progress. "You're getting really good at this, Yuki." Yuki beamed. "Thanks. I want to be able to help protect our community, just like you and Bakugo." Izumi felt a rush of pride. "You already are, Yuki. You're inspiring others, and that's powerful." After class, Yuki pulled out a piece of paper, excitement in her eyes. "I have an idea. What if we organized a community safety day? We can teach everyone self-defense and safety tips." Izumi's heart swelled at the initiative. "That's an amazing idea. Let's make it happen." With Yuki's enthusiasm fueling their plans, they began organizing the event. The entire community rallied behind the idea, eager to participate and learn. Flyers went up around town, and excitement buzzed in the air. As the day of the event approached, Izumi found herself reflecting on how much she had grown since the darker days of her childhood. The trauma that had once weighed heavily on her was now transformed into a driving force for good. She was determined to create a safer environment for everyone, including herself. On the day of the safety event, the park was alive with energy. Residents gathered with excitement, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter and chatter. Bakugo arrived, ready to assist with the demonstrations. "You ready for this?" he asked, a playful grin on his face. "Absolutely. I can't wait to see everyone get involved," Izumi replied, her heart racing with anticipation. The event kicked off with a brief introduction from Izumi and Bakugo. "Today, we're here to empower each other," Izumi announced, looking out at the crowd. "We're going to learn skills that will help us feel safer and more confident." They broke into groups, with various workshops covering self-defense techniques, safety awareness, and first aid. Izumi felt energized as she moved from group to group, encouraging participants and sharing tips. Yuki led a session for younger kids, teaching them simple defense moves, and Izumi couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. As the day progressed, a sense of camaraderie blossomed among the participants. They laughed, learned, and shared stories of their own experiences. Izumi watched as community members supported each other, fostering an atmosphere of trust and encouragement. However, as the sun began to set, Izumi felt a shift in the air. She noticed a few unfamiliar faces lurking at the edge of the event, their demeanor unsettling. A familiar sense of unease crept in, but she pushed it aside. "Stay focused, Izumi," she told herself. Later that evening, after the workshops concluded, Izumi gathered everyone for a closing circle. "Thank you all for participating today. Together, we've taken steps to ensure our safety and well-being," she said, her voice filled with pride. Suddenly, a loud commotion erupted from the edge of the park. Izumi's heart raced as she saw the gang members they had faced before, now encroaching on the event. The leader stepped forward, a malicious grin on his face. "You thought you could build your little community without consequences. We're here to remind you who's in charge." Bakugo moved to stand beside Izumi, his expression fierce. Not anymore. This community stands united against you. The crowd shifted nervously, but Izumi felt a surge of determination. We've worked too hard to let you destroy what we've built. You're outnumbered, and we won't back down. The gang leader sneered, dismissing the crowd with a wave. We'll see about that. As tensions rose, Izumi felt the weight of her past pressing in on her. But this time, she wasn't alone. The community stood behind her, their voices rising in solidarity. We stand together, someone shouted, and the chant quickly spread. With the crowd united, Izumi stepped forward, her voice steady. You may have tried to intimidate us before, but we've grown stronger. We won't let fear control us. The gang members hesitated, sensing the unwavering resolve among the community. Bakugo took a step closer, his eyes locked on the leader. This ends now. You can walk away, or we'll show you what we've learned. The gang leader's bravado wavered, but he refused to back down. You think you can scare us off? You're just a bunch of weaklings. Izumi felt a rush of adrenaline as she prepared to defend her community. We're not weak. We're strong, and together, we're unstoppable. In that moment, the crowd surged forward, a wave of unity that pushed back against the gang members. The gang leader realized they were outmatched, and with a final glare, he signaled his crew to retreat. This isn't over, he shouted as they fled. The park erupted in cheers, the atmosphere electric with victory. Izumi turned to the crowd, her heart pounding with exhilaration. We did it. Together, we stood strong. As the adrenaline subsided, Bakugo clapped her on the back. You were incredible, Izumi. You really rallied everyone. Thanks, Bakugo. I couldn't have done it without you, she replied, feeling a sense of gratitude wash over her. The event had transformed into a celebration of resilience, and the community gathered to reflect on their triumph. They shared stories, laughter, and plans for the future, solidifying the bonds that had been forged through both struggle and victory. In the following weeks, the community continued to thrive. The safety event sparked even more initiatives, with residents taking the lead on various projects to enhance their neighborhood. Izumi felt a sense of pride in what they had built together. One evening, as she and Bakugo sat by the mural, watching the sunset, Izumi reflected on how far they had come. We've created something truly special, haven't we? Bakugo nodded, a rare softness in his gaze. Yeah, we have. And it's just the beginning. We'll keep building, keep growing. Izumi smiled, feeling a deep sense of hope. They had faced challenges, but they had done it together, stronger than ever. With Bakugo by her side and the community behind them, she was ready to embrace whatever the future held, confident in their ability to face it head-on. And as the stars began to twinkle above, Izumi knew one thing for certain: they would continue to shine, lighting the way for each other and for the community they had built with love, strength, and unwavering determination. As the days turned into weeks, Izumi and Bakugo's efforts continued to bear fruit. The community blossomed with new projects, and the vibrant spirit they had fostered became a hallmark of Musudafu. The mural they had unveiled became a symbol of hope, drawing visitors from neighboring areas who admired the transformation. One afternoon, while Izumi was organizing materials for a new art project, she received an unexpected message from Haruka. Hey, can we meet? I have something important to discuss. Curious and slightly anxious, Izumi agreed to meet Haruka at their favorite cafe. When she arrived, she found Haruka waiting with a serious expression. Thanks for meeting me, Haruka said, her tone grave. I wanted to talk about the gang. I've heard some things, they're regrouping, and they might be planning something big. Izumi's heart sank. What do you mean? I've been hearing rumors that they're trying to recruit more members. They're not just targeting our community anymore, they're aiming for the entire city. If we don't act quickly, things could get really bad, Haruka explained. Izumi felt a chill run down her spine. We can't let that happen. We have to warn everyone. Together, they devised a plan to hold an emergency meeting with the community leaders. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over Musudafu, Izumi felt a sense of urgency. They gathered everyone at the community center, filling the room with worried but determined faces. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, Izumi began, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. Haruka has some important information regarding the gang's activities. As Haruka shared the news, murmurs of concern rippled through the crowd. We need to prepare ourselves. We can't let them tear apart what we've worked so hard to build, Izumi said, her resolve strong. Bakugo stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. We've faced them before, and we can do it again. But this time, we need to be smarter. We have to work together and be proactive. The crowd nodded, a sense of determination taking hold. They brainstormed strategies to strengthen their defenses and increase community vigilance. Workshops on safety would continue, but now they would incorporate training on recognizing gang activity and how to respond effectively. As the meeting wrapped up, Izumi felt a surge of pride. They were ready to protect what they had built, and the unity in the room was palpable. Together, they formed a plan for the next few weeks, ensuring that everyone felt empowered and informed. Over the next several days, the community rallied. They organized patrols and created a communication network to report any suspicious activity. Izumi and Bakugo led by example, participating in night patrols and encouraging others to join. One night, as they patrolled the streets, Izumi felt a mix of adrenaline and fear. Do you think they'll come back? She asked, glancing at Bakugo. They're likely waiting for the right moment, he replied, his eyes scanning the surroundings. But we're ready for them. As they continued their rounds, a commotion caught their attention. A group of teenagers was gathered near a park entrance, their voices rising in anger. Izumi and Bakugo approached cautiously. Hey, what's going on? Bakugo asked, stepping forward. One of the teens, a boy named Kenji, turned to them. We saw some guys wearing gang colors hanging around. They were talking about coming back here. Izumi's heart raced. Where did they go? They headed toward the old industrial area, Kenji replied, anxiety in his eyes. They looked like they were up to no good. Without hesitation, Bakugo exchanged a glance with Izumi. We need to check it out. Stay here and keep an eye on things. As they made their way to the industrial area, the atmosphere shifted. The air felt charged, and Izumi's instincts kicked in. They approached the area cautiously, hearts pounding in their chests. Suddenly, they spotted a group of gang members gathered in a dimly lit corner. Izumi's stomach dropped. We need to call for backup, she whispered, reaching for her phone. Before she could dial, one of the gang members turned and noticed them. Look who we have here. The little heroes, he sneered. Bakugo stepped forward, his expression fierce. We're not afraid of you. This ends tonight. The gang members exchanged glances, their confidence wavering. You think you can take us on? You're outnumbered, the leader taunted. Izumi felt a surge of determination. We've faced you before, and we'll face you again. This time, we won't let fear control us. The gang leader scoffed, but Izumi saw uncertainty in his eyes. She and Bakugo stood firm, their presence a testament to the strength of their community. Just then, their backup arrived, community members who had rallied together, emboldened by the workshops they had attended. The gang members were outnumbered, and as the crowd pressed closer, they began to retreat. Get out of here while you still can. Bakugo shouted, stepping forward, ready to defend their ground. The gang leader hesitated, then turned to his crew. Let's get out of here. They quickly fled, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the night. As the tension lifted, cheers erupted from the community members who had come to support Izumi and Bakugo. Izumi felt tears of relief welling up in her eyes. We did it. Together. That night, as they returned to the community center, the sense of victory was palpable. They had stood up to the gang, proving that their unity could overcome fear. In the weeks that followed, the community thrived. News of their bravery spread, and Musudafu became a beacon of resilience. More residents joined their initiatives, eager to contribute to the positive atmosphere. One evening, as Izumi and Bakugo sat on a park bench watching the sunset, she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. We really made a difference, didn't we? She said, her voice soft. Bakugo nodded, a rare smile gracing his lips. Yeah, we proved that together, we can face anything. Izumi turned to him, a spark of determination in her eyes. And we'll keep fighting for our community. We can't let anyone tear it apart again. Bakugo's gaze held hers, filled with unwavering support. I'm with you, Izumi. Always. With that promise, Izumi felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced darkness, but together, they had built a brighter future. Musudafu was no longer just a city, it was a home filled with hope, creativity, and strength. And as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Izumi knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them united, ready to protect the community they loved. Their journey was far from over, but they were ready to embrace every moment of it together. Izumi's determination only grew as she reflected on the challenges they faced. The victory against the gang had sparked something deep within her, a need for justice that extended beyond her community. The pain of her past weighed heavily on her, and she knew that true peace wouldn't come until she confronted the darkness that had haunted her for so long. In the weeks that followed, she immersed herself in training, honing her skills and preparing herself for what was to come. She studied the gang's movements, gathering information and forming a plan. With the support of her community, she created a network that extended beyond Musudafu, connecting with others who had faced similar struggles. They shared knowledge and strategies, building a force that could stand against the tide of crime. Izumi transformed into a formidable leader, her reputation spreading as she became known for her fierce loyalty and unyielding spirit. Whispers of a new force emerged, one that wasn't just about protection but about taking the fight to those who sought to harm others. She started organizing covert operations, targeting the gang's resources and disrupting their activities. Bakugo stood by her side through it all, his fierce spirit matching hers. You know we can't just fight fire with fire, he cautioned one evening as they planned their next move. I understand, but if we want to stop them, we need to be smart about it, Izumi replied, her voice steady. We can't let them control our lives anymore. We have to show them that we're not afraid. As the plan unfolded, they targeted the gang's operations strategically. Each successful mission increased Izumi's resolve, and she became a symbol of fear for the gang members who once tormented her. With every blow, she felt the weight of her childhood trauma lifting, replaced by a fierce sense of justice. Finally, the day came when Izumi knew it was time to confront the gang leader, the one who had caused her so much pain. She gathered her allies, a mix of community members and those who had joined her cause. They prepared for a final showdown at the abandoned factory where the gang held their meetings. As they approached the factory, Izumi felt a surge of adrenaline. This was it, the moment she had been waiting for. The doors creaked open, revealing a gathering of the gang. The leader stood at the front, his expression turning from smug confidence to surprise. You think you can take us down? You're just a bunch of kids, he shouted, attempting to intimidate them. Izumi stepped forward, her voice strong and unwavering. We're not kids anymore. We've learned to fight back, and we're not afraid of you. With a fierce battle cry, the community surged forward, engaging the gang in a fierce confrontation. Izumi fought with everything she had, her skills sharpened by months of preparation. She felt the adrenaline surge through her as she faced the gang leader directly. You took so much from me, she said, her eyes blazing with determination. You thought you could control us, but you were wrong. The fight intensified, but Izumi felt empowered by the strength of her allies. They worked together seamlessly, driving the gang members back. One by one, the gang's defenses crumbled, and Izumi found herself face to face with the leader once more. With a final, decisive move, she took him down, the weight of her past lifting as she did. As he lay on the ground, defeated, she felt a surge of triumph. This is for everyone you hurt. We're taking back our lives. As the last of the gang members fled, Izumi stood tall, her community surrounding her in celebration. They had fought not just for themselves but for everyone who had suffered under the gang's reign. The victory was sweet, and the bond they shared had never been stronger. From that day on, Izumi became a legend in Musudafu, not just as a protector but as a force to be reckoned with. The darkness that once shrouded her childhood was replaced with a fierce light, a determination to keep her community safe. As the sun set on a new beginning, Izumi knew that her journey had transformed her into something more than just a survivor. She was now a warrior, a leader, and a symbol of hope for all who dared to stand against injustice. And with that, she embraced her role as the most dangerous gangster, not for power, but for the promise of a brighter future for her community. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this fanfiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Until then, have a great day.